quick. Bouncy blue screen for a second. Okay. Am I back? I think I'm back. Turn my HUD off. Okay. Try reloading my stream. Doesn't want to load. Okay, well, it looks like we're up and running. I just wanted to give a huge shout out to Jason Plays and Kadena today for visiting Mount Olympus, my endgame build, and just say thank you to them and do a new sub thank you stream tonight to say thank you to all the gonna do a little visit down Mount Olympus through the creator's couch and back, and then we'll do a couple of the other epic builds that I've done and tour them a little bit. What's up, whoever just joined? I wish the render distance on this thing would improve, though. Nobody gets to see the blinking rings of lights that are sequenced to go there, there, there. Isn't there 4 rings that are supposedly blinking? Let's see if I can back up without drunk falling off of this thing. 1, 2, 3 rings? I thought there was 4 rings right here that were blinking. Come on, jetpack. Oh, okay. I gotta look at something real quick. Oh yeah, there is 4 rings. So it flashes this ring right here, blue lights, then this ring, which are kind of tucked behind here and you don't really get to see very well, and then this ring flashes, and then that ring lights up. So nobody pauses right here and actually looks up to see those light up the way they're supposed to. That's one feature of Mount Olympus that everybody misses pretty much right off the bat. And yeah, it's not very well done and the lights aren't very bright, but actually looks better from the other angle walking out. Let me go past this ring right here and then look back, and you can kind of see what it's supposed to look like from the other way. Oh, fell off again. I need to put a sign out that says watch your step. You really see the blue one light up right there from this angle. You kind of get to see the little bit of blue on the second ring, but can't even see the first ring from here. And this ring doesn't light up very good from this angle either. And then these have the lanterns inside of them, and they don't light up unless you look at them either. So people end up walking through this ring of plants without getting the full effect of the glowing going on in the middle. Trip on that for a minute. How many plants are even glitched in there? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I don't even remember how I did that. I don't think you'll see it again in anybody else's build. Oh, I've still got framework in here too. Still got the archways. So I glitched 4 archways out. I don't know how I did that middle though. Yeah, pretty much all the render distance on the rings. I'm surprised these are even lighting up from here. Let's see these things popping on when I get close to them. A lot of people don't let the build pop on before they just walk underneath it and don't even see it light up. There's so many places in this build when other people walk through it that they don't get to see it. It used to light up, you know, a couple 100 yards away, and now it's literally like right up against it and looking at it 5, 10 U away, and it'll finally light up for you. But even going into your build camera and pulling back on it a little bit, the lights usually go out. It might not because I'm standing right there, but like that one already went out. See, it comes back on when I get close. Yeah, all the trees went out already, even though I'm standing right in front of them still. I'll like get right up on them, which is really lame because you're supposed to get that full colored effect from way back here, and you end up walking right underneath it without even seeing it. People just keep tra-la-la-ing along. And don't really pause to look up at things. Like none of those are lighting up even though I'm looking at them. And this adds a really cool orange effect through this pattern if you get it all to light up right. From like if they were lit up way back here, you know, it gives that whole ring a whole different feel when these orange lights are actually on. I think that's the worst part to load into as far as lighting goes, is that little lantern right there. And you can get that little lantern pretty much on any surface. What am I looking for? That little lantern. No, lights. So you use this doctor's light. You can usually get it grain stated on whatever angle you want, and then you just adjacency to that little lantern. Stick it everywhere. Stuck it inside of these right here. So there's one of these little lanterns on the inside of the satellites, just by, I mean, it's a little tricky to get that thing right in the middle of the satellite, but eventually you can get it like flat right in there, and then just adjacency to that little lantern. That way you don't have to wire up lights and light floors, and you still get a cool lighting effect if they would light up. Most people walk through that ring right there too without seeing the red glow to it. So yeah, I just wanted to jump on and say thank you to Kadena and Jason Plays and everybody else in the community that's been sharing and visiting my builds lately and appreciating them. It's really nice that I get to show them off to you guys and let more people see them. Did not know my voice was coming through the stream. Turn that down a little bit. These always light up really good from a distance though. These little rock gardens with the glowy bulb on top. Never had to look at those to get them to light up. For some. Like mainly it's things that are connected to bite beat, like this ring here. Sometimes people don't get to really see the lights move if they're walking too fast. Light floors have really been a distance issue, just like all the other lights. You gotta actually get close to them and look at them to get them to turn on. There's actually 4 rings here that are wired in sequence to spin. Nobody really gets to see them actually working together. Like this plant blocks that light floor really well, and then it blocks this light floor, and then the one that you might get to see is the top of this one that when you walk through it. There's a whole lot of wiring mess on a bite beat down here. Just alternating 2 different signals. Which means every other one of these lights is wired in sequence to the bunny hopped light. I just wish it would have been more visible from a distance, walking through it. And they're colored lights too. I mean, they're supposed to be purple, but I don't really even see them. Looks like that one's even missing a light floor. Well, I just hadn't loaded in yet. So yeah, the render distance for PS4, anyway, been really bad lately. Like these should already be rendering by now, and you gotta get like 5U away. Those aren't lighting up. But they add a really cool effect through this pattern too when you're walking through it. Nobody gets to see the orange really. It's just rendering too late to even see it. Seems like the pet update took about 20 feet, and then Prisms took it right down to like a foot, it seems like, before things actually light up. And I've got my render distance set on 100U, which is maxed out. But yeah, none of this stuff actually lights up unless you take the time to look at it and scroll back and forth in your camera view to see what you've missed and watch it actually turn off again because you're not close enough. There's so many levels of color that nobody hardly ever gets to see. I mean, I can't even get it to light up and then pull back on it to see what it's supposed to look like. So I don't think anybody else is going to get it to work either. Like, those are supposed to be lit up, these are supposed to be lit up, these little red balls are supposed to be lit up, and then these little pink floors here don't light up unless you're right on them. But man, if you could get all that color to stay in that pattern from way back here, when you enter through the tunnel, if I can get up there, so much more colorful. And everybody just kind of walks through it real fast and doesn't even watch it light up. Sometimes they'll catch a glimpse of something, like this room here will kind of light up as you're walking through it. I don't even want to stay on when I'm here. Actually look at these and get them to light up. I don't even remember what lights are up here. I think they're the little chandeliers, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. This and the corals and these little bulbs are lit up from the back side with the adjacency glitch of these little lanterns on them. So that's the little lantern's fault. This here is the little lantern's fault too. But the little corals and the little chandelier lights, they're pretty bad rendering too. That room right there is full of the chandelier lights too that don't like to light up at a distance. See, but that pink ring doesn't even light up all the way until you're underneath it. You see that pink ring? If you don't stop and smell the roses in this room, the whole thing doesn't light up. You like look around. There, it's finally all lit up. Oh, something went out. Stay lit, you little piece of crap. It's only 3,000 pieces. You can handle it. Those things like to reset themselves now, which they never did beforehand. Yeah. As crappy as the stream. Crappy. I went from having 74 subs today to, when I last checked, 141 subs. So I almost doubled my subs today. I wasn't planning on streaming or anything, but I felt like nobody was getting the full gist of this base or some of my other bases, and I really wanted to just jump on and say thank you to everybody that subbed today, and hopefully they'll see this and see that I'm very appreciative of them checking out my builds. This was my big send-off from normal mode. Is that lighting up either? Into creative mode, or I should say I hit enough build limits on this build and had to delete a bunch of farms and stuff just to continue building this. So it pretty much forced me into creative because I've hit so many build limits in normal. And I'm really digging creative mode because you don't have to have all these pearls and sulfides and carbons and glass, and all that stuff's free, but I still wish my glitches would have carried over in Quicksilver. I'm still doing lots of Quicksilver missions. Try to get all my parts back. And my trees and flowers and stuff like that. And glitches you have to go find or unlock. Pretty sure all of this eventually loaded for Jason Plays today, but he kept sitting on this couch with his back to the kaleidoscope. I don't know if he ever turned around and actually saw what was behind him. I still wish I would have made this room deeper so that you could pull back a little bit further and enjoy that ring of lights and everything spinning there. Doesn't look like everything's loaded in on these floors though. I can't remember what was on those floors. Oh, there's a plant popping in. There's definitely something that's not popping in right there, but about 80% of it to load. And I was already pissing off my game. Every time I'd add a piece, it would disappear. This is actually a second base computer down there on that mountaintop with a bite beat and a teleporter, a save beacon, a couple batteries. Oh, there's my exocraft chilling on the side of the mountain. Big old piece of it missing in the shadow down there. It's not missing up here. But yeah, this room was already getting huge and pretty deep. Stuff was disappearing, and if you delete one of those wires, the whole dang room disappears almost. Or at least everything that's attached to that ring. So by the time I wanted to delete this rear end and move it back a little bit more, it doesn't allow me to do that without deleting like 64 pieces of this ring that's all attached to itself. So I said screw it, it's good enough. Mount Olympus itself got up to 4,700 pieces, then I trimmed it back to 3,000, then I added the creator's couch base computer, and dealing with two base computers was no fun at all. Tell you what, Bobby. You'd make a mistake and reload, and do some building and stuff and realize, oh shit, I'm in the wrong base computer. So I have to delete everything that I just did and switch base computers and rebuild it, because that first base computer that it keeps loading me into is maxed out as far as being 3,000 pieces and being uploadable. This is definitely probably the biggest swirling room of glass walls I'm ever gonna try to do ever again. Are you guys gonna pop back in? But I think it turned out really nice. Had to keep lowering the floor right here just to get that creator's couch kind of sitting down in there and out of view. It was like right up in parallel with this, you know, right in the middle, which was cool too, but I wanted to be able to see the middle walking into the room. And I adjusted the height like 3 or 4 times and had it sitting way too low. So I moved it back up. And then I had big glowing ball plants right here that took up some of the view and stuff. I had a tree right here, and APG's like, get rid of that. And I was like, yeah, I was going to. It takes up too much of the view. I kind of wanted a tree of life in here, but it just ruins the view of one of my favorite pieces. Is just that basic tree right there. Another good one is that pine tree right there. If you get the pine tree up on an angle on a wreath like I did in Stairway to Heaven, it actually looks like a flower or a rose bud kind of sitting out. What's my idea? And then these are just supposed to be leaves, and then those are supposed to be flowers kind of. But yeah, that's the walk down through Mount Olympus to the creator's couch. Now we're going to watch everything pop back in on the way back. And I will go walk through the Highway to Hell and the Stairway to Heaven build. And we will end up back here on Mount Olympus in creative mode for the 2.0 version that I'm working on currently. In this same location, which is proven to be kind of difficult. I don't know if the game recognizes that there's a build here in normal. That makes it more difficult to build here in creative because of that. Like, I put a comm ball down at the portal in normal mode on this planet, which is right over there somewhere, 14 minutes away or something. And when I came through the portal in creative mode, my comm ball was still there in creative mode. So that makes me wonder if it's still registering some base parts too, even though we're in creative mode. See, like from this view too, if everything was lit up correctly, the corals were going, and well, I guess the corals are growing. And those are finally lighting up. That next ring and the orange ones aren't going to light up till I get there. those big glowy plants are what's glitching out right there that you see disappearing. Which I'm not complaining that those things still are glitchy, because they add a whole weird effect to this build. Like right now you can't see through the middle right there because of those plants being so large. And when they're over here by the fish tanks, that's where they just disappeared. But if I pull back a little bit, you'll notice them get all huge. Maybe. I don't know. Guess not. Still see how huge they are in build camera. You pull out here and look at them in that ring right there. That's what's blocking the center. So you just seen a couple of them disappear and shrink back down to their normal size. There's also a ring of them right there on the fish tanks. They get all big and disappear as you walk back through them. So that's what's adding that green glow way back there by the light fissures. As we get closer, you'll see more of the green glow, and then you'll see it disappear. It's almost like an intentional gate or invisible door or something. A lot of people don't really notice it for what it is. But like right now, we can't see through it. Get a little bit closer and it'll disappear. Oh, there it goes. Disappearing back down to its normal size. One more to go. So now you can see through it all. And if I back up, is it going to come back? I have to back up quite a ways for it to happen. No, it's not doing it. When I want it to do it, it doesn't do it. And this view looks really cool too, but there's still a lot of things that I wish would stay lit up at a distance. And there goes a flying tadpole. Hey, 4 viewers, thanks for stopping in. Just saying thank you to all the new subs I got today. And saying thank you to Kadena and Jason Plays and Zoo and Boss and everybody else that shares my link. Just wanted to get on and say thank you to everybody. Gonna tour a couple epic builds and end up back here on Mount Olympus in creative mode. I've already started a new Mount Olympus 2.0 in creative in the same location. I'm actually building it on the mountain this time, so the grass is under your feet. You're gonna enjoy this nice bioluminescent grass down here and the bubbles. And the crystals. Now, I wish they'd give this as a build part. I mean, they kind of did with the new crystal. It looks really similar to this. But it doesn't activate during the storms. It doesn't float around and spin and give us cool movement like these do. So I think they could improve on that, definitely. Kind of missed walking through some of that, but I'm sure most of you have seen it by now. So, Coco Pele Bob, welcome, thank you. I'm glad you appreciate the build. It did take me like a month of frustration and phase deletion and cussing and swearing and trying new things. And like I said, I had this build up to 4,700 parts and then trimmed 1,700 parts off of each ring, or little by little rebuilt every ring on it to try to strip parts out of it. So it's definitely not in its original glory. These first two rings got a lot of stuff stripped off of them. I used to have another ring of satellites here with electromagnetic generators on them that I wanted to glow, and these satellites right here used to have a whole ring of glass windows around them with pill lights, and that was 32 more pieces plus wires here and the light floor, so I took them down quite substantially by just having one little plant inside there. And I think I even had electromagnetic generators sticking out the back of it to give it that little green glow on the back, which you didn't really get to see from the landing pads anyways. So I had bubbles around this thing and foliage sticking off of it. But this whole build with Mount Olympus and the Creator's Couch is right around 4,600 pieces, 2 base computers, and it's just over 600 U long. Let me see here. Let's see if I can see the Creator's Couch from here. It's always in my view when I don't want it to be in my view, and I can't see it. It's weird, why aren't any base markers showing up? Oh, my HUD's off. That's right. Let's turn the HUD back on for a second. Okay. Creator's Couch, 529 U away. So yeah, maybe 600 U from end to end. Pause, breathe, and cleanse the mind. That was way the hell back there. It's reading the things from way back on the path. Okay, that one's right here. Well, that's weird. Turn your head on and it reads all the messages that you missed in the last 5 minutes. Okay, well, that's Mount Olympus. Let's jump over to creative mode. Go check out Highway to Hell and Stairway to Heaven. I'm pretty sure it's going to load me right back here on Mount Olympus. I don't have a teleporter yet. I'm gonna go grab grab a drink real quick. Hopefully you guys can still hear me from the kitchen. Dr. Pepper cream soda. But thank you three for hanging out. Stick around if you want to see more cool stuff. Right now we'll get to see what Mount Olympus is starting to turn into. I know glitch building's been a lot more difficult recently. I used to be able to pull off 80 or 90% of the glitches. Now I'm lucky to pull off maybe 20 of them, 20%. So yeah, this is Mount Olympus again in creative mode. And it almost acts like there's a ghost build here, and it's just really difficult to glitch pieces in. Like I was saying, I left a calm ball over at the portal in normal mode, and it's still here in creative mode. So some things are still carrying over, but the base didn't. So got a little rock bridge right here. It's kind of just a nature path down here on the surface. I figured I'd save a lot of pieces by just building 11 point rings instead of 16. So, and now I've taken the angles off too, and like I built the angle right there, but I've kind of just stopped on the 90 degree on these next 3 rings. And I want to decorate the ground a bunch too. I've already put in a bunch of mushrooms and some flowers. Where are these flowers? Aren't they going to be brighter than that? But yeah, some trees, some flowers. That's a big old colorful screenshot right there. Take that. It's just so pretty and colorful here during the day. Actually, sunrise and sunset are the best. Being super bright colors. I love the vanilla sky too. The gold water, meh. I wish it was blue. Got me like some stones going in a circle, kind of Stonehenge feeling right here. Some more little mushrooms and stuff. A couple landing pads, just like Mount Olympus. I actually had the landing pads inside this on the ground right here. And once I build over the top of them, it's kind of impossible to get out of there with your ship intact. So yeah, this is the entrance to the new 2.0 Mount Olympus. Let's look around a little bit before we leave. Oh, that's the max on my build camera. Yeah, I got a few rings here. I don't know. The first one's a double ring. So that I could get these plants offset and going in opposite directions. There's 2 rings. There's the 3rd ring, really tight up against those 3. Well, there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 rings so far. And this is my third day. Seems like instead of 10 or 20 minutes per ring, it's taken me like an hour, hour and a half per ring, depending on the complexity of the rings, but trying to minimize lighting and stuff that doesn't like to load in. And I'm really limited on my amount of Quicksilver parts too. I've got the new stuff, my two favorites right there, and then just a handful of the other ones. That's one of my favorites right there too. Yeah, I don't have all the Quicksilver pieces yet. So I'm still trying to do Quicksilver missions to unlock all of those. Let's see, we need a teleporter to get out of here. Where do I want to put it? Maybe just right here. Okay, let's go visit the Highway to Hell build, which was my first build in creative, and I wanted it to go on a hellish planet, volcanoes and stuff, and wanted it to drop kind of a motorcycle ride through the kaleidoscope and drop you into the top of a volcano. And I bit off way more than I could chew on that build and ended up 1,500 U away from the volcano when I started. So I really had to stretch this build out and ended up building outside of the build limits by another, I don't know, 100 U or so. So by the time I got close enough to the volcano, I still had to build a jump, the jump chute into the volcano, and got super lucky with the placement of the last couple little race boosters and the jump. And first try made it into the volcano. So it worked out awesome when I ended this build, and like 2-3 days after I finished this build, they unlocked the fireplace finally. So there's no fireplaces in this build. Oh. Because it wasn't out yet when I built this. We'll get a little bit of a look at it from the bottom. We're going to teleport up there in a second, and then it's kind of hard to see because it's stormy out, but it goes way, way the hell over there and drops you into that volcano. Oh, let's go see how bad the storm is. This planet's super glitchy too during the storm. Sometimes the sky, yeah, look at the sky. It's doing like a strobe thingy. It was doing that last time Zoo was here too. I'm glad it's not just me and my machine, but sometimes it's only doing it on half the planet, which is even weirder. Like, it stops right there. It's not doing it over here. I don't know. Sometimes it doesn't even have to be stormy out, and the sky's still acting up. This is just one base computer, 3,000 parts. I think that says ride the Pilgrim if you dare. And you can ride your Pilgrim all the way down this. It's kind of tricky in some places, and if you're in third person view, it makes you wobble really good. It's super trippy. For those people that don't have to worry about having seizures or anything. If you are one of those people, you might not want to watch this next little bit. When you go through these rings, usually makes you trip out, moves the camera. Yep, there we go. Makes the camera all wacky. If you go into first person view, it doesn't do that. First person view is really kind of difficult to drive in. But I think I'm just going to walk. Yeah. Let me go back here, because we missed out on some things already. These first couple rings are kind of spectacular, I feel anyway. This first part didn't work out the way I wanted it to, because I can't delete the framework, so I can't join those glass walls together like I wanted to. So I just left it. I'm like, screw it. It's creative mode, the lights are on. Let's just forget about what I wanted to do and start doing something else. So yeah, let's go into first person view here and get a good look at a highway to hell. And then at the end we'll jump into the volcano. After Mount Olympus, I really didn't have the walk-through kaleidoscope rings, building rings out of my system yet. So I wanted to try some things that I hadn't done before, such as this one here with the satellites and the race initiators. These ring of race initiators are facing outward. I guess that ring is too, but just a looser ring there facing outward. And then I did the plants, I think, too. No, the plants are behind there. Love the pattern that these plants make. And that's actually a triple layer of them right there. Or is it only two? No, it's just a double layer. What? Oh yeah, it's only a double layer. Makes it look like a triple though. And then the light fissures glowing through it. I hadn't tried that yet either. And then this room here, I was like, what if we just use a bunch of mechs and a bunch of satellites, ring after ring? What's that going to look like? Kind of got like a grinder oven kind of feel to it. So I did a couple of rings of that and got that out of my system. Satellites and then mechs, and then kind of threw in some conjoining trees, a couple different directions to just fill in some gaps, give it a little foliage feel. And those are just glitched by green staining and wire glitching them right to the side of the satellite. Usually I have them going in both directions, crisscrossity, kind of like that. Tried to minimize parts so that I could stretch it this far. These first couple rings were pretty part intensive. I don't really keep count. I just know I can build a whole bunch of stuff before I gotta worry about it, so might as well just start throwing parts. Got the withering tree or dead tree or whatever in the middle of these. Kind of give it a nasty bush kind of haunted feel walking around it. Is that my, yeah, that is my Colossus sitting there. Oh well, I don't want to mess with it right now. This was kind of cool too. I tried glitching these little lanterns onto the race initiators, which worked out really good and gave it a really nice red glow right there in the middle. These also have the lanterns in the middle of them to give them that red glow. And yeah, there's lanterns on each one of these rings coming through here. Just 3 of these rings, I should say, but if you notice that they're there and you see them in the pattern right here, adds that little bit of yellow glow to the inside there. Gives a little bit of a sparkle too, because you can only see the ring, the lit up ring on the top at a certain distance. Kind of loads in and out and sparkles a little bit. I hope my phone is dying. Somebody said something to me. I'll read it here in a second. Jack Rice popped over here from his stream. Thanks, Jack. You're getting shouted out by Jason Plays right now. Yeah, I know he's had my link pinned for, or Kadina's had my link pinned for a little while now, and this is kind of my thank you stream to Jason and Kadina for giving me a shout out on this stream. Just wanted to do a crappy little stream of my own tonight and say thank you to all my new subs. I went from having 73 or 74 subs up to like 141 today. So I didn't have any chance to plan a 100 sub special or do anything. I almost doubled my subs just by having Jason visiting Mount Olympus. And we were just at Mount Olympus, if you want to go back in the stream and check it out. And this is A Highway to Hell. It's another walkthrough artistic kaleidoscope build that's 1500 U that drops you into a volcano at the end of it. Or actually you have to jump yourself into the volcano, but I might go through this next room for you guys. Well, maybe not. I don't really want to fall off of this thing. I'd like to make it to the end before I fall off of it. My phone doesn't want to stay on live chat. These builds are really cool, I gotta say. Well, thank you very much, Jack. I played No Man's Sky for about a year and a half. Felt like I did everything and was getting more and more into building end game stuff and seeing what was possible and trying to push the game to its limits and pretty much trying to blow up my PS4 so that I could buy a PS5 by pushing this game to its limits. And I do blue screen quite a bit because of all the stuff that my PlayStation's struggling to do, but it hasn't blown up yet. So my internet kind of sucks, so the streams aren't that great, and when I defragged my PlayStation, it took away my Share Factory video creator app, so I can't even make videos anymore, and it won't let me re-download it. But this room, because it has all these boosters in it, and they kind of get tighter here at the end of this pink room, when you're in your pilgrim, God, I hope I don't fall off, it actually gives you a boost at the end of this room. And if you're not expecting it, it might be too much to handle for most people. If you just don't touch your steering controls, you end up still on the path. But yeah, that gives you a really good boost through there. And usually people fall off about that time. Oh, I don't want to fall off. Yeah, it's creative mode, so if you don't have the time spent in creative to upgrade your jetpack, then you're not getting back up here. One good thing though is if you jump out of your pilgrim fast enough and you're falling, the game will automatically load you back up here. So that's just one saving grace to this build. I don't know how many times I've fallen off of it, but this stuff down here isn't even loading in. So I have a bunch of plants that make that star pattern right here. That aren't loading in. It's like one of the worst rings in this whole build for loading in. But I'm not going to worry about it. We got 80% of it loaded in. And we're almost to the end. So I'm not going to worry about it. But yeah, it's got a bunch of these carbon plants glitched in a star pattern facing at you at the entrance right there. I just don't want to load in. Usually they do. Usually everything's loaded in for me, and then whoever's visiting usually doesn't get to see that ring. For some reason that's the only ring that has problems. Everything else is usually here. Didn't try to get fancy with bite beats or a bunch of the pieces on this one. Like, this was my first build in creative, so I really only had a couple of pieces to play with as far as Quicksilver parts go. And those are my favorite parts to play with, so almost to the end here. Whoa, I think I'm tripping balls. Definitely trip some balls. Walking through these things. I can't trip balls when I'm building them though. But I do make them just to trip balls afterwards. There's a save point if I want to reload those rings. Or if you just want to save it before you jump into the top of a volcano. Save point there. And yeah, the build limit is way back here. Let's see, we're at just a little over 1,000 U from our ship. 993 U from the base computer. So, like right here, well, let me see. We can actually see where the limit is. Right there. So right here is my build limit from the base computer. So all this stuff from here on out, I had to build by standing where I'm at, because if I go forward anymore, then I don't have the build pieces. So yeah, that's probably like another 50 U or so. And I just slapped this down and made the jump, and I was still 350 U away from the top of a volcano. And I was like, that's as far as I can build, so I hope I made it. And sure enough, first try off of this jump, right into the top of the volcano. I was like, oh, that's perfect. Just didn't even have to adjust nothing or do anything fancy. And even if your exocraft isn't upgraded all the way, As long as you hit your jump button, which is X on PlayStation, at the end of that ramp, you make it, even without any upgrades or boost or anything else. So let's do it. Let's jump into the top of the volcano. If I can get through these little glitches right here. I forgot those are kind of a pain in the butt. Alright, here we go. Boost, boost, boost. Hit the X button and jump. And we're flying. Oh, the volcano just erupted too. And we land right in the middle of it. Perfection we'll have to do. Get a little shot size comparison. From up there, the volcano doesn't look very big, but it's a pretty decent sized target. So it's kind of hard to miss. Even if you don't hit your X button, you usually make it about right where I am right now. But toxic acid heated storms and shit on this planet, which definitely interfere with the visuals. Lightning going off, and just building this close to the volcano too. It kept erupting in the background and making everything shake. I think I'll call my ship over though. I don't gotta drive back up there. Yeah, this one's really long because I had to stretch it so far. And I wanted to see, how far I could stretch one build. And it pretty much answered my question at 1,000 U in the air. I hardly ever fly in first person mode. This is weird. Let's just change that, right? I don't need my Byte Beat playlist. So it started out trying to be like an Eye of Sauron kind of feel from this angle. In between the spiked 4 spiky mountaintops here. But in order to do like an Eye of Sauron feel, I would have had to connect it, and that would have been just way too big of a circle. I actually had it facing a different direction. I was going to go to that volcano over there, and it's even further away. So I ended up building a couple rings and then tearing it down and going to that volcano, which was closer. Content? Just water? I'm not sure what you're saying. My stream is not cooperating either. Just sitting there loading. Hopefully you guys haven't black screened by now. Yeah, it was a perfect planet for a Highway to Hell build. Asking, is this nice noise content? That would be a matter of your opinion. I believe if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't, I guess. Yeah, those spires are cool, huh? big old spires. I have a build on top of one of those spires called the Acid Mountain Monastery. It's in normal mode, but one of these nights we might go revisit it. There is a video on my channel of it though. Built way up on a spire, just because I was like, this spire needs a build. Alright, let's go to Stairway to Heaven, which originally I thought was in the Hilbert galaxy with the Highway to Hell, and turns out it's in Euclid. I've been giving people the wrong address for a while now. I think I even gave Damash the wrong address on Discord and had to go back and change it. Stream just will not load. There we go. Thank you for having a calm voice. Well, thank you for saying my voice is calm. I hate my own voice. I sound just like my little brother, and that kid's annoying. I have a tendency to whistle when I say S's sometimes on my streams, so I'm trying to be cognitive of my pronunciation of things so that I don't whistle when I speak. Blue screen. I just got here to Stairway to Heaven and it blue screened. So I'm going to